And hello and welcome to Kearney Live. We're having fun already. As you can tell, we were having fun during the promo and Brian was yelling at us before we got started. Hello, everybody. I'm Jim Dickerson along with Stacy Bratcher and Lynn Broughton. We have a good show for you coming up today. Let's talk about some things that are opening in the news. First of all, hats off and congratulations to both the girls and boys basketball team. They both finished up their season, sadly, before the district play was over, but they both had really good years, especially there towards the end. The boys team had two great games to finish out the season. So congratulations to everybody over there. And congratulations to our own Bulldog Radio Network broadcast team. I got to make sure I get everybody. Help me, Brian. Let's welcome Brian in. I keep messing up the names. So Kelly Gentry, Dan Herman was over there.
Dan Herman,
Andy Martins, Eric Stevens was there. And did I leave anybody out?
Well, you left me out, but that's. I'm used to that.
But you're everywhere, Brian.
He is everywhere.
So let's take a look at Brian. There you are. How are you, Brian?
I'm doing great, thanks.
Good to see you.
Yep,
Anything
thanks.
about the basketball we should know?
It was a really good, exciting season. So especially the last, in the playoffs, they just turned on the juice and were fighting, every minute of the game. It was a very exciting game.
Yeah, I was listening to the last two boys games.
Mm-hmm.
That was really good. I almost broke my app. And we'll talk more. We'll talk about that coming up in just a second. So congratulations to everybody over there. I do know there's some discussion about, I'm probably not even supposed to mention this, and Brian's going to yell at me.
Oh, boy.
Here we go.
Maybe us doing a little bit of coverage of some baseball and softball.
Why you say that?
Don't make promises.
I know we're working on the logistics. I will tell you, I'll be 100% honest. We've wanted to do this for years. We've said this before. Brian can speak more to it, but the logistics that goes into these games, as far as the computer stuff we need to get the broadcast on the air, all the sponsorships, the timing, getting it in the time slot, it's a little more complicated than just running out to a game. Yeah, and having two guys stand there or sit or whatever.
Out there.
So, and I know baseball starts here pretty quick, but we're working on it. And speaking of sports, did you guys happen to watch Saturday Night Live on
Absolutely
Saturday?
Not.
I did not. I did not watch it either. It's been a long time since I've watched Saturday Night Live.
I did.
Yes.
I watched it. So I will say this. I don't know if you've seen the clips. And we were talking about maybe there's 3 or 4 clips that Kelsey did that were cut, because they run out of time, obviously. There's Travis. But I will say this. I watched it, and a couple of things that I got out of the program. Number one, I was reminded why I don't watch that stupid show anymore.
Stay up that late.
Even if it were on at 6 in the evening, I would.
Still not working.
It's not good. And I used to be a Saturday Night Live fan. I loved it back, in the days of
80s.
Chevy Chase and Dan Aykroyd and Rosanna Dana and all that stuff.
Yes.
I will tell you, I thought Travis and his brother Jason, they're funny. They're good. The writers on the show are horrible. I mean, the skits were not, and it was funny because you would see something setting up, and you were like, "Oh, this could," and then it was over.
Well, I heard the ones that they cut were actually funnier than the one they
There's
ones
one,
they used.
the one that we were talking about playing was probably the funniest, where I can't even describe it. It's on YouTube or whatever. Go look it up. But it actually, I agreed, it was one of the funnier ones. But it wasn't even funny accidentally.
Now their podcast is really funny.
Jason and Travis,
Yes.
right? And that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
They are funny. They have talent.
Yes, really good.
I will say, when they leave the NFL, they have
They're
a future.
Gonna be fine.
I don't. In fact, maybe we could put a 4th chair for Travis right here.
There we go.
But no, I thought they were both great. That's all I have to say about that. I would be remiss if I didn't tell you that Brian Watts has put together the world's greatest app. if you don't have the 102.7 KPGZ app, there it is on your
Mobile
screen
app.
for the
Mobile
mobile app. For those of you who are driving, please don't wreck your car. But hopefully you're listening to KPGZ on the app.
That's right.
Because you can listen to it anywhere in the world. I have, so for those of you who have not listened to it, and I'll let Stacy and Lynn chime in here in just a second. For those of you who used to use the MyTuner radio app, we heard
That's
you.
good.
We heard you. And I had the same problem in my car when I was traveling, and when I travel anywhere. The problem was it took too many things to try and get the app going. And then it would glitch and stick, and then it would try to get you to play Candy Crush. By the way, I got a high score the other day. But the app doesn't do any of that. It's like 2 buttons and you're going.
Yeah.
And you're under the way.
Excellent.
You're on the way. And it's got the news on there. It's got KMO-TV. It has, probably more importantly than anything else in the world, this show
That's right.
on it. But Lynn, I know you've got the app. What'd you think of it when you downloaded
I really enjoy it. I think you can get on, the music comes on right away, but you can
does.
find the news, you can find the podcast, you can find whatever you need. And my 29 and 27-year-old son, you're in the game now. That's exactly what they said with that app. They think it's great because my one son lives in Ohio. He doesn't have to go search YouTube. He doesn't have to go to a Facebook Live, but he does. But now he can open up that app and watch this show.
There you
Right,
go.
at 6 o'clock his time, 5 o'clock our time.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
We're going to have to start saying that. Be sure to join us on Kearney Live. That's 5 Central.
Yeah, exactly.
6 o'clock on the East Coast. What do
Yeah.
you think of it?
Oh, I love it. It is so easy to use for people like me who are technologically handicapped. And Lynn's right. You touch the button on the app, it comes up, it immediately is playing music, and there's even little voting buttons. You can say you like it or you don't like the
Yeah,
song.
because
so good.
It's my favorite feature.
Stacy heard a song one time and she was like, she goes, Brian, you've got to get this song off there. So you can vote.
So
you
I can vote
down.
now.
Now
It's
you can
awesome.
vote.
And
But
so-
what I'm really looking forward to is when I go out of town, I can take Kearney with me. It's
Well,
going to be so
exactly.
great.
And I
That's
do
what's
that. I
nice.
do that all the time. Brian, I was going to ask, and you may not know, when you vote on the song, are you voting? Is that like going to the song headquarters, or is that coming? Is that coming to us?
It's coming to us. It goes to the app headquarters, if that makes you feel any better about where it goes.
Well, I meant that,
It,
like,
it goes to our analytics.
okay,
yeah.
that's what I was wondering. So if everybody really hates a song, we can see it.
If
Everybody
we get
needs
enough,
Stacy.
Can you
yeah,
vote
if we get
once or
enough
multiple
down
times?
votes, we'll take it out of there. We're not
Stacy will
gonna
be
play
like,
that.
Stacy, we just keep hating.
dislike. But no, if you get a chance, go look up the
So
app.
you
It's
can't
available.
vote anymore.
It's available on the App Store, and I'm getting the sign from Brian, which tells me I'm supposed to throw it to Lynn. This concludes my report.
Will Missouri students have to pay back their student loan debt, or will they be forgiven? We will talk about that next on Kearney Live.
There's something for everyone at the Kearney Enrichment Council. Spark Studios after-school programs at the Old Firehouse use STEAM-based activities to help kids learn, create, and find new hobbies and skills. The Enrichment Council supports our senior community with fun activities and necessary services at the Kearney Senior Center. All of Kearney comes out for our festivals, concerts, farmers markets, movies in the park, parades, and much more. The Kearney Enrichment Council, 106 South Jefferson Street in Kearney, 816-635-0566. Improve quality of life, find your place, build a better future in Kearney.
Data shows that 26 million people in all 50 states applied for or were automatically eligible for the student loan relief. 484,000 out of the 26 million are Missouri residents and are now waiting for the Supreme Court to rule on two cases, Biden versus Nebraska and the Department of Education versus Brown, later this summer. Watch this clip.
We're not going to get a decision for several months, but 2 on Your Side's Kelly Dudzik is breaking down these individual cases, and she shows us how many Western New Yorkers could be impacted.
2 court cases, one filed by 6 states, the other by 2 students, made their way to the U.S. Supreme Court. The justices are deciding whether they have the right to sue and whether the Biden administration can use the HEROES Act to erase student debt. The HEROES Act was established after 9/11 and allows the U.S. Department of Education to change the terms of federal student loans if there's a national emergency. The states argue that federal agencies cannot put sweeping new policies in place that have a big economic impact without approval from Congress. The conservative majority commented on that today.
We take very seriously the idea of separation of powers.
And questioned whether this would be fair.
For example, people who've paid their loans.
The liberal minority questioned whether the states have the right to sue.
The people who are suing have to show they've been injured, and the 6 states really have not been injured here.
The federal government put student loan repayments on pause at the start of the pandemic. That brought relief to hundreds of thousands of Western New Yorkers. The U.S. Department of Education just released new information breaking down the number of people within congressional districts who stand to benefit from the president's plan.
The Supreme Court heard oral arguments for this cases on February 28th. The Supreme Court could have made a decision any time after the oral arguments were completed, and the borrowers can likely expect a final ruling from the Supreme Court on the matter in May or June. The Biden administration says it will fight the student loan debt, like we heard, until the end, but that could be an uphill battle with a conservative-leaning Supreme Court. The question I have for you guys is, what do you think about this process? How do you feel about it? And how do you feel knowing it could drag on till May or June? What do you guys think?
Stacy?
Well, I actually have a student who is waiting on the determination of this, and to me, this is America at work at its finest with the judicial system and all of its checks and balances. And May or June, it's already been dragged out for
Correct.
How long now? Waiting till May or June, I'm good with that, because then we'll have a definitive answer.
What do you think, though? I mean, like they say on there, the Supreme Court could have made a decision any time during the arguments, but they didn't. So now, as of today, there's still no update. Because I looked that up, there's no update, so there's no urgency to keep moving.
So generally, the Supreme Court doesn't do anything quickly.
Right.
And then if we use the past, we got to leak some information out, right? So we got to have time for that. But
Jim.
I wouldn't, honestly, to me, that's a quick turnaround. I would expect a decision in the fall or something, because it takes a long time to, you've got to look at, like they got, it's more than just somebody going in there and arguing the case of should you pay. You've got all the legalities. Do they have the standing? That's always a big one. I'm assuming, and I could be wrong, but since they made it to the Supreme Court, they probably do have the legal standing. I would think someone would have caught it by now. But there's so much more. This argument has been going on for a while. We talked about it on a previous show. I don't understand why I need to be responsible for someone else's loan. So I don't know if you saw this, but the teacher union president, or the head of the teachers union, or whatever she is, went on a tirade out in front of the Supreme Court. And I think we have that clip. Take a look at this, and then we'll talk about this. But this shows what some people's thought is about this situation. And that's not it. As Stuart Varney would say, this is there she is.
There she is.
See if we can get some audio to her. There's no audio?
No.
Well, that's the whole point of the video. Okay, so
you can
anyway.
just tell from her mannerisms she's not happy.
Yeah, so what she basically said was she was comparing the student loans to the COVID relief. And the problem is with that is that's apples and oranges. The COVID relief, nobody in the United States asked or signed on the dotted line to get the Rona.
Correct.
Right.
That was something that came, and then the government shut all the businesses down, right?
Right.
You can't open your restaurant. You can't do this. And when I say the government, it was on various levels, city
Right.
level,
Right.
county,
Right.
state, federal in some cases. So that hurt businesses, and we had to do something or the economy would crash. When you take a student loan, you sign on the dotted line.
pay
You're
back.
accepting
That's right.
responsibility for that loan.
Yeah.
And you can sugarcoat it however you want. You can call it whatever you want. You can call it loan relief. You can call it loan forgiveness. But at the end of the day, somebody has to pay for that. The money just doesn't go away.
Right.
And whether it's through a federal program or whether it's through a bank or however they did it, if you make that loan go away, somebody else has to pick up the tab. And for for people who have taken student loans in the past or taken a loan for anything for that matter, that's your responsibility. You signed on the dotted line, you should have to pay for it.
And I'd be fine with it if the students who took out the loans didn't receive an education during that time span. But for the most part, colleges continued to teach the subjects. They were
Right.
just online. And so maybe you didn't get the full college experience because campus was shut down and you had to hole up in your dorm room, but you were still getting the education you paid for or that you took the loan out for. So I really don't understand why we're letting them have this for free.
The other thing is that, and I don't have these stats in front of me, but there's a lot of statistics out there that the cost of college has gone up exponentially over the cost of everything
Crazy.
else.
Very much
Yes.
so.
So if you want to loan forgive, have the colleges pay it back.
Right.
Now see how well that goes
There
over.
you go.
They're not
Exactly.
going to want to do that.
No.
Well, then tuition's going to really skyrocket. But
Well, and I think colleges are facing a whole nother problem right now. I think from what I've heard, and this will be interesting as we go into 24 school year,
Yep.
college enrollment is on a serious decline.
Decline.
Now those numbers for 24 obviously won't come in yet
Right.
because we're not there, but this is I would say this year that we're in right now, this school year is our first full normal year pretty much out of COVID. There's a few places that hung on to it. And there's a big push to trade schools, learning a trade,
Absolutely.
air conditioning, plumbing,
Welding. We need welders.
building.
Yeah.
Well, and the real world learning that the schools are offering
Correct.
now is showing kids other opportunities instead
Right.
of going to college or switching before they do go to college so they can see.
Well, and a lot of people are doing what I've always thought was interesting. So the big deal has been get your college degree. And then people would throw on that little caveat. It doesn't matter what your degree's in, just get a degree.
degree.
So you have a degree in botany.
It doesn't. That's not
but
true.
It doesn't. But that's what I'm saying. There's a lot of people who said just go get your degree. And now people are coming around and saying, well, if it doesn't matter what my degree's in, then why does it matter that I have the degree?
Right.
But if you
Yeah.
go out and learn a trade, that's a skill.
Yes,
You
correct.
always want to have a skill.
Right.
Don't you
Absolutely.
think?
Skills are very important. Yes, but even more important than that is a work ethic and integrity and morals and ethics. I think that's what employers are really looking for nowadays. You can teach the rest. You can't teach those things.
Let's start moving that on.
Okay, is that my hint?
That's your hint.
All right. Well, wouldn't it be great if we could achieve global health equity? Let that sink in. But what does it mean? We'll talk about it when we come right back after the break.
Migraine headaches, the throbbing in your temples, the pounding in your forehead, extreme sensitivity to light and sound, your neck feels so tight it could snap off. Oh, the debilitating pain.
Hi, I'm Dr. Mark Strathman with Kearney Family Chiropractic Center, and I've been practicing chiropractic health in Kearney for over 22 years. When you come to see me, I identify what's wrong and determine if I can help you. If I can, I create your personalized plan for relief.
When you have pain, you can make an appointment by calling 816-628-6738. Or you can visit the office at 301 South Platte Clay Way, Suite B in Kearney. Kearney Family Chiropractic Center. Heal yourself.
Simplify your banking, simplify your life. It's easy with Kearney Trust Company. Kearney Trust goes beyond convenient locations and good customer care to offer banking services that make managing your finances quicker and easier than ever before. Online, bill pay, e-statements, and mobile banking are available to give you a positive banking experience so you can get back to your life and activities. Kearney Trust also provides capital to people and businesses so they can achieve their goals. Whether you know exactly what you want or just need someone to talk to about your dream, you can speak with them and work on that dream. Kearney Trust Company is your partner for success with 2 convenient locations in Kearney at 310 West 92 Highway and 701 Watson Drive in Price Chopper. The phone is 816-628-6666. Kearney Trust Company. Banking you can trust. Member FDIC.
More reliable power means more of what you love. You expect your lights and appliances to turn on at the flip of a switch, and so does Platte Clay Electric Cooperative. That's why Platte Clay is working hard to make power more reliable in the Northland. We exist for one purpose: to empower communities and energize life with safe and reliable energy. To learn more about their plan to reduce outages across the Northland, visit www.pcec.coop/reliability. Platte Clay Electric Cooperative.
Welcome back to Kearney Live. President Biden's diplomats are negotiating a treaty with the World Health Organization to promote so-called global health equity. The premise is that in a pandemic or other worldwide disease emergency, Americans should not get better or faster health care than inhabitants of third world countries. Under the draft treaty presented in Geneva on February 1st, the U.S. will be obligated to hand over a whopping 20% of its medical supplies, including diagnostic tests, antiviral medications, and vaccines, to the WHO for global distribution. Watch this explanation.
I believe that it will mean the establishment of a worldwide totalitarian biotech state. So these instruments, and by the way, you correctly characterized the Zero Draft as an agreement. That's what they're calling it. They don't want to call it a treaty because they are deliberately trying to subvert the United States and the other countries' treaty processes. So if it's an agreement, all it takes is a signature. It does not take going through our Senate. So people say, oh, don't worry about it. It will never pass our Senate. Well, they are deliberately subverting our Senate process.
Signatories must recognize, quote, the central role of the WHO as a directing and coordinating authority on international health work. What do you believe that means?
Well, it means that the WHO is able to call the shots if there's any health emergency or potential health emergency anywhere in the world. And the language that says that they have to have the permission of the country is stricken, so that they can do it without the permission of the country.
So Article 10 of the treaty, or the Zero Draft, specifies this will be done in real time, not after Americans' needs are met, but in real time. The U.S. will no longer be able to rush treatments and vaccines to its own citizens. So grandma will have to wait longer for her Paxlovid and other treatments because those items now being stockpiled and paid for by American taxpayers will be shipped to places like Nigeria, Uruguay, Afghanistan, and other underdeveloped nations. The WHO will call the shots on which countries get what supplies. Gentlemen, this is scary. What's your take on it?
Leonard?
So does it come down? Does it come down to who gives the most money to them will possibly get supplies first?
From what I have read, no, that has nothing to do with it.
So
it
they'll
has
just
to do
rationalize
with
it out.
Whoever the WHO wants to give it to is who will get it.
And they could shut us down for even longer if they determine that they need to do that, which they have, right? They've said countries opened up too quick. So
wait. So what happens if every country in the every country in the United States, every country in the world doesn't sign on to this? Because if you don't have 100%, it doesn't work.
That part I don't know. But I know that they are trying to circumvent where it only takes an agreement. It doesn't take ratification by our government.
Well, the WHO did such a great job with COVID. Why would we doubt their ability to do anything else? I don't see how that would ever pass. Because
it doesn't have to pass.
He signs. If he signs, it's automatic
done.
in.
Who's he?
Biden.
And the Congress has no way.
Senate has nothing.
That's why
go ahead.
If it's a zero draft, it only takes a signature and it circumvents our legislature.
So
there's got to be a way around
What happened with President Trump? President Trump left the WHO. Right. He took and left the WHO, took the United States out of that organization. And if you watch that video farther with the young lady that was speaking, she said at the end, our president needs to walk away from the WHO. That's the first thing that needs to happen. And then we're not even part of it. We can do it the way we've been doing it and the way we wanted to do it here in this country.
So I'm not a constitutional expert, but that to me, there's got to be a way around that. There's no way
you would hope.
There's no way that a president, except in an emergency situation of which this is not, can do that. And even if he did sign something like that, you would think Congress would immediately step up and say that. The problem. You
would hope.
This is deeper than just the WHO, though, I think it's funny.
I know.
They call it the
WHO.
Because I think for those of us who've been around since the 70s, who are you? Anyway, Brian's going to sing for us in a minute. But the problem with medicine and medical has been a debate forever. And I think I don't know how we get out of it because we're so deep in it, but we need to take a huge step back as it relates to medicine, healthcare, and all that, because we know that certain medications are astronomically overpriced and expensive.
Like insulin.
Right.
But you can go to Canada and get it for far less.
Right.
That should never happen.
Exactly.
That shouldn't even be, unless Canada's economy was so, and it's not. But so that creates a problem. Then the problem that turns into is you have people who go to Mexico because they think they're getting something cheaper, and then what do they get? They get the fentanyl. I kept wanting to say something else. So then you've got the fentanyl problem. So what it's doing is it's exacerbating the problem. We need to take a big step back. And then hospitals, you have the problem with, so this is and healthcare workers, though you'll publicly hear about this, the healthcare, you publicly won't hear about this, healthcare workers will tell you, you have all these issues with healthcare when, you want everybody to get healthcare, right? And you want everybody to have good healthcare.
Right.
But then with anything, no matter what it is, you always have people who abuse the system. So you have people that go to the hospital, to the ER, because they have a sniffle, right? So now you've blocked the person who's having a heart attack. And we have healthcare systems that are overloaded. they can't handle the people. And then we've started to try and to kind of funnel that out a little bit. Now we have urgent care facilities. Well, now we have the same problem happening there. Everybody floods in and you have that problem. So I don't know how you fix it necessarily, but I feel like we've got a bad problem that we make worse. We need to take a step back and try to, you know, the medication is like step number uno. That's not true. I guess making sure that everybody has access to health care is number one.
Right.
But there's got to be a fair way to do it. And then the same thing goes with medication. The latest I saw on insulin, it's like, is it $900 a month or something like that?
It depends on which manufacturer you're getting your insulin from and what your insurance is and all those kind of things, but it is hundreds of dollars a month.
And
yeah, it's like I know one lady was paying, she couldn't afford it. It was like $150. It was a big deal.
I can
but
go to
that's
Walmart.
what I'm saying. It should never.
I can go to Walmart and get insulin for my dog for a month for $40.
Well, and that's where we got into the whole thing with ivermectin, because ivermectin was cheaper, and we didn't want to do that, and then we politicized the whole thing, and then we're not getting the health care. You know, we're not looking at people's health care. We're looking at politics, and
that's the word right there, right?
Right.
I think it comes down to the politic game that's being played, and I hate it that we're being played because of the fact is
We're the pawns.
we're looking at the last pandemic. Okay, everyone has their opinion on how that pandemic was handled,
Right.
because Biden first will blame Trump. It was under Trump's administration, right? So now they're setting this. This looks like this is going to be Biden's thing, that our hands are going to be out of it, so you can't blame the politician because now the WHO is going to be in control. So whatever they say, we're going to give them the things they need, and then they're going to take care of us.
See, and that's part
scary.
of it. But
That's
that's part of
very
it.
scary.
That's part of a bigger issue because we're turning everything in our country over to other countries.
Exactly.
It's the same thing, and this is a totally separate subject, and I promise we're not going to go down this rat hole.
But here we go.
We have cities and states now that are considering allowing illegal immigrants to vote. I beg your pardon? Because what other state, or I'm sorry, what other country can I can't go over to Italy and vote.
Right.
They'd be like,
shouldn't.
what? Exactly. And you know what's even funnier? I don't live in Kearney. I can't come up here and vote on a Kearney issue.
Right.
Even though I spend money here in Kearney, even though
Spend a
we
good
have a
amount of
business
time in
here in
here.
Kearney, I do a lot of stuff in Kearney, but I can't vote in Kearney. That's the rule. And I don't expect that I should be able to vote in Kearney because I don't live in Kearney.
This is going to be an interesting thing to see what happens.
But here's the other thing I've never understood too. When you talked about insurance, has anyone ever had this happen? If you go to get health care, you get some procedure and it's $5,000
Okay.
through insurance. But if you private pay,
it's cheaper.
It's $2,000.
Yeah.
I beg your pardon? How does that work? I've never understood that. I'm kind of trying to find that program when I buy a car. Now, if you get a loan, it's $30,000.
But isn't that why they passed that
if you private
the transparency bill with hospitals? They now have to
they do
show their price list.
So you know what that did? So now you can see it. It doesn't mean it
See what you're
changed.
paying,
You
right.
just see it, and you're kind of like, well, there it is. But it's kind of funny.
Well,
So I don't know.
I
The healthcare thing.
yeah. Well,
I mean,
if
first of all, I am not blaming healthcare workers.
No.
You guys are doing a great job. This is an administrative thing. But I agree. We should have healthcare. We are like country number one. This should
Right.
not even be an issue. We shouldn't even be talking about this. But you know what we can talk about? We have news that you need to know. It is official. It was signed at 10:33 p.m. It's even been on TV. Facebook is going to start charging you.
what?
We're going to talk about it when we come back. Stay with us.
Simplify your banking, simplify your life. It's easy with Kearney Trust Company. Kearney Trust goes beyond convenient locations and good customer care to offer banking services that make managing your finances quicker and easier than ever before. Online, bill pay, e-statements, and mobile banking are available to give you a positive banking experience so you can get back to your life and activities. Kearney Trust also provides capital to people and businesses so they can achieve their goals. Whether you know exactly what you want or just need someone to talk to about your dream, you can speak with them and work on that dream. Kearney Trust Company is your partner for success with 2 convenient locations in Kearney at 310 West 92 Highway and 701 Watson Drive in Price Chopper. The phone is 816-628-6666. Kearney Trust Company. Banking you can trust. Member FDIC.
You may have noticed your shoulder hurting, or maybe a kink in your neck. The culprit may be looking right at you. Your phone. Think about how you use it. Does that pain feel familiar to you?
Hi, I'm Dr. Mark Strathman with Kearney Family Chiropractic Center, and I've been practicing chiropractic health in Kearney for over 22 years. When you come to see me, I identify what's wrong and determine if I can help you. If I can, I create your personalized plan for relief.
When you have pain, you can make an appointment by calling 816-628-6738, or you can visit the office at 301 South Platte Clay Way, Suite B in Kearney. Kearney Family Chiropractic Center. Heal yourself.
Electric cooperatives are different. We have a sense of pride in our local community and support the people who live here. That's why Platte Clay Electric Cooperative supports local schools, takes an active role in economic development, and works hard to keep costs down for its members. We exist for one purpose: to empower communities and energize life with safe and reliable energy. To learn more about how Platte Clay Electric Cooperative is working to achieve that mission, visit www.pcec.coop. Platte Clay Electric Cooperative.
Oh, we've got big news for you. It is official at 10:33 last night. It was signed. It was even on TV. Facebook's going public, and they are going to charge you. It's going to cost you thousands of dollars. It's part of the Rome statute. You know, all your pictures and that, they're going to be public. They can put them anywhere unless you follow the information that's on this graphic right here. Let's talk about it. There it is. It's going official. Now, you can stop all of this immediately if you will put your finger. Don't walk up to your TV, folks. Don't do that. But if you're watching on a laptop or a computer or even the new app, which, by the way, is available at the App Store, KPGZ App Store, you can put your finger on that and you can copy and paste, and all is forgiven. That's all. That's all. Now, let's continue. None of that is true. This has been going on for literally 10 years. I went back the other day and found a post from 10 years ago, and it was that exact same post. Look, first of all, it's not official. Secondly, Facebook has been a public entity for a long time. Third, when you signed the dotted line and you started your Facebook account and you started putting your pictures all over the place, it's in the public. Now, the way you can kind of diminish what you do is select private. But let's face it, folks, if you put it on the internet, I don't care what button you push, it's on the internet. It's out there, and it stays out there forever. Kids, if you listen to one thing I ever say in my life, and I know nobody listens to me, and I get it, but be careful what you put on Facebook, because Stacy's going to talk about it here in a second. She doesn't know it, but she is. As an employer, when we go back and we look, the first thing we start doing is checking people's social media. It is the first thing we do. And you can be kicked out of a job, the process of a job. You may have the dream job, the job you've always wanted. And if you posted some garbage on Facebook or TikTok or whatever you use, and we find it, it's an automatic disqualifier because you become a risk to the employer. Don't do it. I'm going to say one more thing because I'm going on a little rant.
There you go.
Every day, and we talked about it before the show started, every day something probably happens to you that gets you a little upset. Rant about it, get it out of your system, but don't go post about it on Facebook, because your little rant that makes you feel better for about 7 seconds stays on Facebook and Twitter and all that forever. And someone's going to find it, and the problem is they're going to find it 7 years from now when you don't even remember what you were mad about, and you may not get a job because of it. So back to this thing here, this is a scam. Do not do it. You are the scam if you perpetuate it and send it on. The Rome Statute, by the way, look it up. It doesn't even apply here. And the United States never adopted it. And even if it did, it doesn't apply to public entities, and it doesn't apply to Facebook. This is not true. It's a scam. I don't know how many times I can say it. It's not true. It's a scam. Please don't forward. If you feel this strongly about it, do me a favor. There's a little button on your computer. It says print. Print it out. Put it on your wall, your refrigerator. Put it on your garage door so you can see it. But please don't send it to anybody else. Stacy, carry on.
Wow. I don't know if I can. You set the stage high on that one. Woo. No, but Jim is right. There are so many scams out there. Please don't fall for things. If it seems fishy, it is. So ask a neighbor, ask a friend before you start posting things.
Google.
Don't ask Google.
Well, good point. Forget I brought that up.
And yes, please, employers do check all of your social media accounts, all of them, and will determine their hiring based on your social media. So use it as, pretend like you're a business and you are selling your brand on social media. So don't put anything out there that will tarnish your brand. That's my 2 cents.
Another thing you can do, and then we'll get to Lynn because he is dying over here, I can tell. This is a good bit of advice that I would say, because as an employer, sometimes it comes up. Every now and then go check your profile, but look at it as the public sees it. And what you want to do is, there are some people that will tag you in a post and you don't realize it, and it's probably not something you want on your feed. So make sure, so what I do is I go back and I look at it this way. If you look at my feed, I don't want anything on there. Well, first of all, lock your feed down so it's not public.
Yeah.
But secondly, even then, I go back and look at my feed and I scroll through quite a bit, a couple of years. Now, I don't post every 7 minutes either. So if you're one of those people that
text
post
every 7 minutes, though.
That's a whole different thing. I'm only texting you. I do it because I know it annoys you.
I do post every 7 minutes.
Lynn posts a lot too, or texts a lot.
I do both.
But seriously, go back and check it as a public, so how the public sees it, to make sure there's nothing on there that you don't want on there. And the way I look at it is, if I wouldn't want my mother to see it, and I know my mom can see my Facebook, so that's neither here nor there. But if it's something I wouldn't want my mom to see it, then I take it off because I don't want it on there.
Yeah, the young athletes, when I had 2 boys that were, I had one son that played college football, and that was one thing that was really harped, and it's basically what you're saying is watch what you're posting, because even recruiting kids, they're doing the same thing. They're checking their Facebook, they're checking their Twitter, and they're seeing what kind of individual it is, because if you're going to offer that child a player, boy or girl, full ride or 50%, 75%, whatever it is, and your name, the college, is going to be tagged onto that kid, they want to make sure they're getting a kid that's well represented, and that they don't look bad because of what they're sharing out there in social media world. I am just, who has the time to write this out? I'm trying to figure out, what is the game? It's
already been written out, so that's the easy part.
Copy and paste
and the
it.
thing is,
I'm saying, who is the guy that decides, hey, I'm going to do this scam, and is he wanting to see does he see how many people
Well, what the original,
I'm trying to understand the process.
Here's what it was originally done for, and this is the risk you run on social media. What it was originally done for, it was the scammers that would use that, and then when you copy and paste, what you were doing essentially is you're giving access to your entire friends list. And that's what they're trying to do.
or your personal data.
Or your personal data or all that sort of thing.
So that's
Now,
what people need to hear too.
Facebook has kind of locked it down, and so has
Yeah.
Twitter and Instagram and all that. However,
some get through.
Any of this stuff, which is copy and paste some random thing, that's what the original intent is. So keep that in mind while you're doing it. You're not doing anybody any favors. And if you're going to, by the way, do you have the graphic with Alex Smith? Okay, look at this here. Let's see which one we have first. In 3, 2, 1, there it is. Breaking news. Alex Smith is the quarterback. Did you see this?
Yeah, I saw that.
This is a prime example of what I'm talking about. Verify what this went around like crazy. It's not true. Some guy threw up a graphic, good graphic, by the way.
Yeah.
Congratulations. That looks
Very
really
nice.
good.
Right.
But Alex Smith is not the quarterback's coach. But people were going nuts. People had this long diatribe about why it was a good idea, why it was a bad idea. It's not even true.
Right.
When you see something like that, check for 3 seconds. 3 seconds, that's all I'm asking. For less than 10 cents a day. Did I have another one? What's the other one? Oh, yeah. Tom Brady. He signed as the backup quarterback for the Chiefs.
Awesome.
Not true.
Wow.
Not
man.
true.
Research,
But
please.
please just research before you send this stuff out.
Repost.
There's enough garbage out there. And we don't have, I hate to tell you this, we do not have a disinformation czar. So therefore, we cannot stop this. But that's a whole nother subject.
Yeah,
But anyway, the point of it is, number one, check before you send it out, because what you're doing is you're exposing all your friends to what could be a scam that is much more, it is hard enough to try to keep people from stealing your identity, doing the thing. One more thing I'll say, and then I'll shut up. Not really. There's you always see this thing where they say, hey, Lynn, check your account. You got hacked. A lot of times, yes, changing your password's always good and everything else. Probably shouldn't tell everybody what your password is, like if it's your birth date with your last 4 of your social and then your address. Right now, Lynn's going, got to change my password.
I got to change all my passwords now.
No, but the one thing to keep in mind, the one thing that's going on now is that it's not that they truly hack your account. It takes 2 seconds to literally take like 2 or 3 pictures, your profile picture, your image and all that, and then make a separate profile. Yep. You're not really hacked, but what they're trying to do is suck you in to get you to friend that new thing. So just keep an eye on that. The easy way around it is scroll down. If they've only got like 3 things and they're a friend of yours and they've been alive more than 2 days, you're on to something.
Yeah. Well, I had a quick one. I had a young lady message me that I know, and I knew, and so my wife was actually on the phone with her as I was talking with her through Messenger. She was hacked. And so I just kind of played along, and I ended up saying, hey, I'm talking to you on the phone right now, and click, they went off. So so it does happen.
It does happen. And I had someone get a hold of me because I had needed money for bond or something weird thing like that. And they were like, you're not in jail, are you?
That
and I was
doesn't
like,
surprise me.
Not again. But you know what? Coming up next, stay with us. Final thoughts.
There's something for everyone at the Kearney Enrichment Council. Spark Studios after-school programs at the Old Firehouse use STEAM-based activities to help kids learn, create, and find new hobbies and skills. The Enrichment Council supports our senior community with fun activities and necessary services at the Kearney Senior Center. All of Kearney comes out for our festivals, concerts, farmers markets, movies in the park, parades, and much more. The Kearney Enrichment Council, 106 South Jefferson Street in Kearney, 816-635-0566. Improve quality of life, find your place, build a better future in Kearney.
Welcome back to Kearney Live. I hope you've all changed your Facebook account passwords, Twitter, and all that. Double back and go check. Final thoughts. Len, you're up.
I would like to congratulate the Kearney High School girls wrestling team. They're the Missouri Class 1 state champions, and the Kearney High School Golden Girls, Missouri Dance Team Association, that's a long name, 2023 Division III state champions. What a couple weeks for our school here in Kearney.
Yes.
Congratulations, girls.
Good job, Bulldogs.
Yeah, I said that the other day. I said it's kind of funny every time we come in here, Kearney School District has done something good. Great job over there. Hey, if you are looking for a job or your employer, don't forget the hiring fair. The Kearney Hiring Fair is coming up. It's the third annual, and it is going to be on April 13th. And it is going to be, do we have a graphic for that? No, we do not. So I have to read about it. So it's from 3:30 to 6:30 at the Kearney First United Methodist Church at 1000 East 92 Highway. But it's the event is open to all employers, and they have also private interview rooms available. And that's brought to you by the Kearney Chamber of Commerce, KMO-TV, KPGZ 102.7, and the Prime Broadcast Group. If you need more information, get a hold of the Chamber. They'll get you situated. But there is no excuse that as an employer, you shouldn't be there. If you need an employee, and employees will be there too. And if you're an employee, again, I say this as an employer, come dressed for success.
Yes.
Be prepared. Bring resumes if you have cards or whatever, but come ready to shine, because that's a great way to get an on-the-spot interview.
Fantastic.
Yeah, and then it's one
right on the spot.
I wish they had these when I was jobs, because you can hit like 4 or 5 places in one time.
Absolutely.
So that's all I got to say about that hiring fair. Look it up, Kearney Chamber. Stacy.
All right. Well, I'm going to hijack the show for just a minute and get a little personal. I'm going to tell you about neurofibromatosis. It's a rare progressive neurological disease causing tumors of the nerve tissue. These tumors can develop anywhere, including the brain, spinal cord, and nerves. Complications of neurofibromatosis can include hearing loss, learning impairment, cardiovascular problems, loss of vision, and severe pain. Currently, there is no cure for neurofibromatosis. Although tumors are usually benign and symptoms are usually mild, complications can negatively impact quality of life. Neurofibromatosis is estimated to affect about 100,000 Americans. People of all ages, races, and both sexes are affected equally. I'm sharing this with you because my cousin Christopher passed away on March 1st after a long, painful battle with neurofibromatosis. He was a month shy of reaching his 40th birthday. Christopher was diagnosed with neurofibromatosis at age 6 and has been fighting the disease ever since. He was an avid fisherman, hunter, golfer, and hobbyist. He was very much loved by his family, and he will be deeply missed. Thank you for letting me share Christopher with you today.
Sorry to hear that, Stacy. But you always hate it too when people not only have any kind of disease, but when they get it at a young age, and then they have to suffer through it. And and even with, we've talked a little bit about it, but we have the best health care in the world.
Absolutely.
And even still, it doesn't always come true. But anyway, condolences to you and your family.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us today. Be sure to join us every Wednesday at 5 o'clock. It's our new time. It's not new much anymore, but anyway, 5 o'clock on Wednesdays. And then the replay is 11 o'clock on Saturdays. That's Central. It's noon if you're on the East Coast, I've been told to say. And that would be 10 o'clock Mountain Time. For those of you who are watching the replay, you probably know that by now. But anyway, be sure and join us next week live. Kearney Live, 5 o'clock. We'll see you.